Hey, 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 YouTube world. Gonna start this one off the same way I normally do with I'm all over the web. Feel free to look me up. If you're into doing crafting projects, look me up. Again, I want to remind you that Crafting with Six is all one word as you type it in to look for it on Facebook or on YouTube. Because I do have another YouTube channel, Crafting with Six. Today I want to talk about a controversial subject known as white privilege. Now I keep hearing about this so-called white privilege. And I don't know that it's so much a privilege to be white as much as we all have preference amongst each other with our own race. Sorry to say it like that. Don't know any other way to say it. But I might get more preference with white people than, say, an Asian would, a Hispanic would, or a black would. Is it right? Not necessarily. Is it wrong? Not necessarily. I don't think it's any different than me walking through a black neighborhood. Is my white privilege gonna kick in and I'm not gonna get looked at and I'm not gonna get messed with and I'm not gonna get threatened and I'm not gonna, is it right? Not necessarily. Is it wrong? Not necessarily. And I say not necessarily because here's the deal. Is it right that I should feel out of place in a black neighborhood? No, it's not. It's not right. I should feel just as welcome in a predominantly black neighborhood as I would in a Mexican neighborhood, in a Chinese neighborhood, in any neighborhood. But am I gonna? Probably not. And am I gonna be messed with because I'm a white girl in one of those neighborhoods? You betcha. You bet your bottom dollar I'm gonna be messed with, especially if I'm alone. Is it right? Not necessarily. But here's the thing, and I'm not going to say no, straight up just no, because here's the thing. I get that the reason people do this is because they're just as scared as I am. I get the fact that if I walk through a predominantly black neighborhood, people are going to mess with me for the mere simple fact that they're just as scared of me because I'm a white girl as I am of them, because they don't know where I'm coming from. Am I a DFS worker? Am I an undercover cop? Am I a drug addict looking for the next hit? The sad part is I know that if a black person, a white person, if a black person, an Oriental person, or a Mexican person walks through a predominantly white neighborhood, they're going to be messed with just the same. Guys, look. Here's the thing. It's not privilege. It's acceptance. We as human beings accept our own more than we accept something that's different. Now, and I hate to say it like that, our own, because we're all human. And I'm not going to tell you no lie. My family is the melting pot of races. We have all kinds of, we have black, we have white, we have Native American, we have Korean, we have Italian, we have German, we have Jewish, we have, you name it, it's all in the pot. you know. So I look at people and I see people, okay? Um, I don't look at people and see color because I'm biracial. However, I favor the lighter skin because I'm closer to albino than anything else. And my daughters are, because I am half and half, they are darker because their fathers are black males. And so they're biracial, but they're on the darker side because of the black in me and their fathers being black. Now my sons, oddly enough, my younger son, he was born black, even though his father is a straight up ginger. His father is red hair, freckles, blue eyes. But because of my genes, my son, I'm not even BSing. I wish I had a picture here. He was born black. The doctor came to me and his parents came to me and said, you need to tell him who baby's daddy is, because he ain't. Because he's a white, blue hair, blue-eyed, red-headed. That ain't baby's daddy. Well, it was baby's daddy, and now it's funny because 15 years later, he looks like the spitting image of his dad. He's got the red hair, blue eyes, freckles, and he is of the lighter skin color. But it was so funny when he was born. I shit you not, he was 3 shades darker than my biracial oldest daughter, who is on the darker side of biracial. And it was just so funny because seriously, his parents and the doctor came to me and said, you got some splaining to do. And I was like, no, I don't. But anyway, you know, it's almost a comical thing here in America, and it is and it isn't. And the fact that, you know, people look at color as a privilege, that just goes to show you where our nation is as far as human beings, because it's how can I say this nicely? It's fucked up that, you know, if you look at somebody and you see their color, dude, you in trouble. You're in trouble. If you're a white person and you look at someone and you see their color and you don't want to be bothered with that person, you in trouble. You in trouble, because guess what I'm starting to notice more and more? Black doctors, black lawyers, Chinese nurses, Hispanic nurses. We are becoming a culture of very mixed here in America. We have people from all walks of life. And so if you got a problem with people because they ain't lily white, you in trouble. Because I tell you no lie, when it comes down to it, if me or my children are in trouble, honey, I don't care what color you are, what gender you are. I don't care what color your hair is. I don't care who your privilege is, what neighborhood you came from. If you're a doctor and my son's in trouble, I'm coming to you. Because I trust you. Because you're a doctor. And I hope you're there with the intent of helping anybody and everybody that comes through your practice door. Because I don't care what color you are. And I'm sorry that we live in that world. I'm sorry that we live in a world where people are teaching their children. Oh, man. You know, our precious children. Wow. I have a 10-year-old grandson. And I tell you, I couldn't imagine him looking at somebody and going, oh my God, they're black. Yeah, he's never even been exposed to that thought, as far as I know, because, his, like I said, his mother is biracial and his dad is white. And he falls on the lighter side of the skin color spectrum there. And, I can't imagine my grandson going, I don't want to play with that kid because they're white, or I don't want to play with that kid because they're black. Because I don't even think these kind of thoughts go through that kid's mind. He's a kid, and he's homeschooled, and so he's very innocent. I mean, like my children. My children are 17 and 15, and I tell you what, they're sheltered. They are sheltered as shit, They haven't really been exposed to a lot of the hatred that goes on in the world as far as racism and things to that nature. I just know personally, because I know my children, because they've never been to public school. The three girls did, but the two boys didn't, and they've never set foot inside of a public school. Now they have been to different, private school settings and tutoring sessions and different things like that. They've got friends from their Y groups and stuff like that, but and they've got friends in the neighborhood, but they've just never. I know my boys, and I tell you, I can't imagine either one of them ever just not liking someone based solely on the skin color. Just solely on the skin color. I can't imagine it. I can't even imagine it, because now I've seen where they've had issue with someone, but it was a legitimate issue. It wasn't I can't stand them because they're black or white or whatever. It's like, this person was, ignorant. This person said something. This person did something. And I've never had my kids refer to someone by race. And I'm not gonna lie, I've done it. I think we've all done it. It's not right. It's not right at all. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, being the white girl in the neighborhood, I have honestly said, I've honestly made comment to, the Mexican neighbors have really done a beautiful job decorating their house for Christmas this year. And I've made comments like that, and I don't mean anything by it. It's not, I would never say that to their face. I'd tell them their house is beautiful, but I'd never be like, hey, Mexican neighbors. That's ignorant. And I guess I shouldn't refer like that at all. I don't mean anything by it, but I guess it is kind of ignorant. I should just go, those neighbors over there. Probably. And I guess from now on, I should make a conscious effort to do that. But I don't know, seriously, I don't know that outside of any of our races, do we have privilege? I think black people have black privilege in an all black neighborhood, in an all black setting. I think Mexicans will have Mexican privilege. It's like if I go to a Chinese restaurant, I don't speak Chinese. I speak a little bit of Korean, probably enough to hold a halfway decent conversation, but I don't know that I'd get the job, okay? But you can bet your ass if a Chinese looking dude walks in behind me, speaking his ass off in Korean or Chinese or whatever the hell, he got the job. He got the job. You know why? Because he's got privilege amongst his people. And I wouldn't expect any different. It's no different than if I walked into a soul food establishment. And I know what soul food is because, honey, I'm from New Orleans. So I know my soul food. But I know gumbo. anyway, the thing is, if my lily white ass walked into a soul food establishment to apply for a job, and a black lady walked in behind me, who do you think they're gonna assume knows more about soul food, and who you think they're gonna hire first? Is it privilege or is it acceptance among your people? You know, is it fair? Not necessarily. Is it right? Not necessarily. But, you know, I'm not gonna lie. My neighborhood is a very eclectic mix of races, and I love it here, and that's why I'm here, and that's why I chose to raise my kids here. We've probably been in this neighborhood a good 10, 11 years. So my kids have basically grown up here. We started out in one spot in the neighborhood and ended up over here, but we're still in the same neighborhood. And I have to say, it's a very mixed neighborhood. We have black neighbors, we have Mexican neighbors, we have white neighbors, and I've never had a problem with any of my neighbors. My neighbors keep to themselves. They're quiet people, and they don't bother anybody, and their kids are polite, and their kids are great, and I've always tried to keep a real rein in on my kids because, I'm one of those people that look, and anybody in Edmondson or Woodson, if you know me, you're watching this video and you see one of my kids doing something, please feel free to come let me know. I am not one of those people who believe my kids don't do no wrong. Nada. You come tell me that one of my kids did something. I know my kids. So don't come lie on my kids to try to get them in trouble. Because first of all, I'm not going to discuss, chastise, or punish my kids in front of you. Because how I choose to raise my kids is between me and my husband. I don't put it out there on display for anyone. So I'm just throwing that out there. But I know my kids. So if you come and tell me that you overheard my kids cursing, you overheard my kids cursing. Yeah, you did. I know you did. You ain't lying. You did. Here's the thing. If you overheard them and they saw you, come tell me. Because that ain't happening. But if you overheard them and their back was to you and they didn't see you, then they were just kids being kids. Come on now. When we was kids, we all stood around throwing the F-bomb and anything else we could think of because that's what the adults in our lives did. And we wanted to be like them. We wanted to be Billy Badass. But if they stood in your face and cursed, I don't know that I would believe you because I know my kids. And now my daughter, maybe. But then she's 28, so you got to deal with that with her. My 15, about to be 16-year-old son, I know, no way. He will do it when he doesn't see you. Because he does it when he thinks I don't see or hear him. But if he knows you're there, or if he knows you're paying attention, or if he sees you, not gonna happen. But anyway, if you have a problem with one of my kids, and you'll know them to see them at the park, walking through Woodson because they go to Taco Bell all the time, If you got a problem with my kids, come let me know. Because I guarantee you I will handle it. Because my kids have home training. And I don't care what color you are. I don't care if you're able or disabled. My children will not disrespect you. And if they do, come look me up. And if you don't know where I stay, but you live in Edmonton or you live in Woodson, drop me a comment down below. Because the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to City Hall with your name and find out if you are actually a resident of Woodson or Edmonton. I'm going to verify that you actually saw my children before I even comment to my children. It has nothing to do with your race. It has nothing to do with your gender or any of that. But I know some adults are just asinine enough to get on here and go, oh, I can get their kid in trouble because people are stupid. So if you can't find me in person to tell me what my child did, drop me a line below. I'm going to verify you live in the neighborhood. And then I'm going to verify what kind of person you are before I take into consideration what you're saying about my child. But if you come and knock on my door, we can discuss it. But anyway, back to the privilege part. I don't think white people get as much white privilege as you might think. Because I kind of feel that we all are accepted by our own. And again, if I was to take my lily white ass and walk through a predominantly black neighborhood, I'm not going to get nearly as much favor as if I was black walking through that neighborhood. If I was black walking through a predominantly black neighborhood, nobody'd give me a second thought. They wouldn't give a rat's ass, wouldn't even turn their head and look twice. So, and it's the same thing as if I walk through a predominantly white neighborhood, nobody's going to give a shit. If I walk through a predominantly white neighborhood, nobody's going to give two rats' asses, not going to look twice, not going to think nothing of it. But let me turn black and walk through that same white neighborhood, it's going to be some shit. You know, and as sad as it is, that is, unfortunately, a lot of times, it is what it is in America. And it's quite sad. And it starts with us grown-ass people instilling in our children how wrong that concept is. I mean, it just really does. It starts with us overgrown-ass people instilling in our children that it is no different for a white, a black, Hispanic, Muslim, Korean, to walk through our neighborhood than it is for us to walk through theirs. You know, so the white privilege thing, I don't know. I mean, you know, I hear black people all the time saying that I'm scared to death when a cop pulls me over. White cops this and white cops that. You know what? I had that same reaction when I'm pulled over by a black cop. Because, and I'm not pulled over that often because, first off, I don't drive, you know. But secondly, my husband drives, and we've been pulled over by black cops. And my first reaction is, are they going to fuck with us because we're white? Are they going to fuck with us because we're in this neighborhood? And you know what? Been there and done that, because we have literally had black cops ask us, what are you doing in this neighborhood? Fucking driving down the road like every goddamn body else. But you noticed I was white. What happened to my white privilege, sir officer? You know, sir, I'm not even bullshitting. Not even bullshitting. I have literally had black cops pull us over. Broad daylight. Wasn't even 2 in the morning. It was 2 in the afternoon. What are you doing in this neighborhood? So, it's not just a black thing. You're not the only ones being pulled over going, what are you doing in this neighborhood? It happens to us too. Is that a privilege? It's freaking ridiculous that you or I can't drive down the road without being judged for the color of our skin. And I'll tell you what, and I've said this before, and there ain't no shame in my shit. I don't have no teeth. And I've literally had officers look at me like I'm some kind of fucked up drug addict because I don't have no teeth. Like, you don't have no teeth, and there's no other explanation for it other than you're a drug addict or you're a recovering drug addict. Well, let me tell you something. I am neither. Never spent a day in my life on any type of drug, can't stand the smell of alcohol, used to smoke cigarettes. Normal, nicotine-ridden cigarettes. Marlboro was my brand of choice. The reason I have no teeth is due to a medical condition called brittle bone syndrome, where my body does not receive calcium like normal people's. And so my bones break really easy. Now, I'm on the higher end of the spectrum when it comes to brittle bone syndrome. I'm not like, the guy from Glass. I don't break, I'm not broken, but I am on the spectrum as far as that goes for the brittle bone syndrome. And yeah, my teeth were the first to go. I do break very easily, but not, oops, I hit myself. Now, there's a couple times that I've leaned into the washing machine to grab clothes, and you can literally hear my ribs crack. Or I'm walking down the hallway, and you know how when you're walking, you swing and you hit the wall or you hit the edge of the couch, and I've literally broken my arm. But, I don't just break when I'm walking. I'm not that bad. But yeah, that's why I have no teeth. It's because of the brittle bone syndrome, which is caused by lack of calcium in my body. But I said all that to say that my so-called white privilege that, people keep saying that I'm supposed to have, I don't. And I don't have it if I'm in a predominantly black neighborhood. And this is what people don't get. It's not about privilege. It's about acceptance. It's about we are accepted more by our own than we are by different people. And I hate to say our own, but that's the truth. I'm using words that resonate with truth because, is there such a thing as black privilege? I mean, if you're riding through a black neighborhood at 2 PM, do you get stopped? No, because they assume you live there. They assume you belong there. If you're riding through the ghetto at 2 PM, they ain't gonna say shit to you. Carry on, ma'am. But let my ass go through the ghetto at 2 PM. How come I can't live there? How come my lily white ass can't be poor and on food stamps and living in the ghetto without being accused of being some freaking, being there to buy drugs, or being some hooker, or being some freaking, I don't know, homeless crack whore? Gee, what happened to my white privilege? And it's no different than if a black woman is driving through a predominantly white neighborhood and officer stops at her wanting to know what the hell she's doing. They assume she's hooking her way through the neighborhood. It's not right, guys. It's not. It's not right. It's not fair. It does happen, and it's not about privilege. It's not a privilege. It's about acceptance. And here's the thing. I don't get off into that Black Lives Matter bullshit. And yeah, I said it. Black Lives Matter is bullshit. Because the truth of the matter is all lives matter. Every freaking body's life matters. I don't give a shit if you're black, biracial, whatever the fuck you are. Because the truth is, here in America, the melting pot of the frickin' world, nobody's pure anymore. So you could have black skin, but somewhere in your family there's white people. somewhere in your family, there's white people. And you could be lily white, but somewhere in your family, there's black people. You know, so we are the melting pot of the world as far as race, religion, creed, sexual preference. And, you know, it ain't a privilege. It's just is what it is. So, you know, you take that for what it's worth and do what you want with it. I'm going to wrap this up because it is getting kind of lengthy and I got other things to do. But anyway, again, look me up. Again, Crafting with Six. Bunch it together when you type it in. You got to bunch it together. It's all one word as you're searching for it in the search engine on Facebook or YouTube. Now, if you're going to look for me on Instagram, I am Puppy Shark Z. That too is one word. I am learning to navigate over there a little bit better, so I am doing a little bit longer videos over there. I'm also doing a little bit more with the arts and crafts over there too, as far as doing pictures and longer but shorter videos. So if you want to check me out over there, feel free to check me out over there. Guys, if you're in St. Louis, it is a cold and wet one today, so be careful out there. Try to stay dry. If you don't have to go out, I wouldn't. But anyway, guys, today is Saturday the 11th. So, happy weekend to you. Have a good one.